AML and KYC compliance is more than checking an identity. In wallet-based onboarding, every credential, screening result, risk decision, and report needs to become trustworthy evidence. In this module, we'll connect that evidence chain to audit-ready controls. Now we move from the regulatory foundation to the platform obligations it creates. eIDAS, the EUDI wallet, onboarding, and privacy by design all lead to one practical question: what AML and KYC evidence must be captured, retained, and explained when challenged? Wallet-based onboarding can make identity exchange faster and more trustworthy, but it does not shift AML and KYC responsibility away from the organization. The business still needs a defensible evidence record: which attributes were presented, how identity was verified, which screening and risk checks occurred, and why the customer was accepted or rejected. Good design captures enough proof for audits, disputes, and investigations, while avoiding unnecessary personal data under GDPR. Think of evidence capture as the audit memory of the onboarding journey. Identity evidence shows which attributes were verified, which credentials were presented, and whether the issuer was trusted. Process evidence explains the context: session IDs, timestamps, consent, purpose, and policy version. Risk evidence records AML screening, scores, factors, and escalation signals. Decision evidence closes the loop by showing whether the applicant was approved, rejected, referred, or asked for more information. Evidence capture should happen as the onboarding journey unfolds, not only when the case is approved or rejected. Start by recording the wallet request, the attributes requested, and the verifiable presentation received. Then preserve verification outcomes, trust chain checks, credential status results, and any validation errors. Once minimum identity data is available, trigger AML screening and retain its inputs and findings. Finally, store the risk decision with links to the supporting events, so audit review is complete. When a wallet presents attributes, the relying party should not simply copy the credential. First, record the verification outcome: valid, invalid, expired, revoked, issuer not trusted, or presentation failed. Then capture the metadata that explains the result, including issuer, credential type, issue and expiry dates, status check, trust framework, and assurance level. The goal is provenance: enough evidence to justify the onboarding decision later, without storing unnecessary credential payloads or sensitive data. Privacy evidence and AML evidence should be part of the same connected record. Start with the lawful basis: consent where required, plus the notice version and time. Then attach the purpose, such as account opening, identity verification, or AML screening. Each processing step needs its own timestamp, from request through decision and closure. Retention must also be justified by regulation, business need, and minimization, so data is kept only as long as it has a defensible purpose. Every onboarding decision needs a traceable rationale. The platform should capture which policy version, rule set, thresholds, and model version were active, and connect them to verification results, AML screening, device signals, and any business rules applied. The outcome may be approval, rejection, review, enhanced due diligence, or a request for more information. What matters is explainability. If access is limited, the firm can show the evidence and reasoning behind that decision. AML screening should begin after identity proofing has produced reliable attributes. The orchestrator sends only the normalized data needed for sanctions, PEP, adverse media, and watchlist checks, often through controlled vendor APIs. Results should not be treated as a simple pass or fail. Confidence, list version, vendor, and timestamp all need to be captured for audit. Because deeper checks can take time, use callbacks or queues, so onboarding can pause, continue conditionally, or route cases to review. Each AML signal has a specific role. Sanctions checks answer whether the firm is allowed to serve this person at all. PEP checks determine whether political exposure requires enhanced diligence. Adverse media adds reputation and conduct risk. Jurisdiction, product, customer profile, and intent provide additional context. The scoring engine combines these inputs into low, medium, or high risk, driving the next action: onboarding, review, escalation, or rejection. An audit trail is only useful if people can trust it after something goes wrong. Treat compliance logs as evidence, not ordinary diagnostics. Capture who acted, what changed, when it happened, where it came from, and which customer or case was affected. Protect that record with append-only storage, synchronized time, encryption, hashing, monitoring, and tight privileged access. Then link entries to verification, screening, decisions, and reviews so investigators can reconstruct the full onboarding story. In distributed onboarding, evidence is often spread across many systems, so traceability has to be designed in from the start. A single correlation ID should follow the customer session from wallet verification through the gateway, KYC and AML checks, decisioning, and case management. That allows auditors to rebuild the journey without guessing. Administrative actions need the same discipline. Evidence downloads, policy changes, overrides, and case access should be logged, monitored, and alerted on when behavior looks unusual. When automation stops a case, the goal is not just to decide, but to prove how the decision was made. Capture the trigger, the assigned reviewer, evidence checked, actions taken, and rationale. If an analyst overrides a system result, record who approved it and which policy supports it. A strong case file also includes notes, documents, escalations, reason codes, access controls, retention rules, and a searchable audit trail for future examination. Audit readiness means turning compliance evidence into clear answers. Teams need dashboards that show onboarding volumes, approval rates, rejection reasons, manual reviews, and AML alert outcomes. They also need fast search by customer, case, date, decision, or screening result. Just as important, each decision must point back to the policy version and rule set in force at that time. Exports should be controlled, logged, and tailored for audits, regulators, and investigations. The main lesson is that compliance must be designed into onboarding, not added later. Capture complete KYC evidence, integrate explainable AML screening, maintain tamper-evident audit trails, and support manual review and reporting. Next, we translate these requirements into a compliance-to-control matrix that architects can reuse.